Hey ladies, welcome back to the show. It's the beginning of July, and if you are someone who is body conscious, probably like 99% of women, you may be looking all around you at other women who have achieved any of the health, wellness, and self-care goals that you yourself are wishing or wanting or on the pathway to trying to achieve. And part of that comes with this idea that there are these thoughts that we think like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could look like that. I wish I could do that thing that this person is doing. It's easy, especially in a world of social media, to feel like other people possess some special ingredient to achieve the goal that they've gotten to, that somehow you don't have that ingredient, you lack it. However, the truth is that if they can do it, then you can do it too. In the age of social media, it's very easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to other women, to other people. And as we scroll through our feeds daily, hourly, minute by minute, we tend to see this curated snapshot of success, making it hard not to feel discouraged by our own progress and our own success. It's crucial to remember that every successful person, what you deem as successful, was and did start out as a beginner too. They had their day one where they made the decision to make this change, and they had a journey that was full of ups and downs, just like you are too. But I think when you achieve the goal or you get closer to it, we forget about those ups and downs. And on social media, having these really fast reels of the beginning and the achievement of the goal, it's really hard to see where the struggle was. And I want you to remember that if they did it, you can do it too. And so today we're going to talk about how to overcome comparison and really start to embrace your own journey. And I feel like we've been concentrating a lot on this idea of embracing the journey. And so today we're going to focus more on the comparison aspect of it, because it's all important in terms of embracing your journey, but there's just so many aspects to it. Welcome to the Whole Health Empowerment Project podcast. This show is for women over 40 who are trying to create balance in their life when it comes to food, body, self-care, and wellness. You struggle to put yourself first, to maintain consistency when something isn't perfect, or maybe you feel like you don't have enough time or willpower to achieve the goals you desire. I'm your host, Trisha Stefankowitz, registered dietitian, nutritionist. I've worked with women like you achieve their goals by focusing on the next best step, no matter how messy, and meeting you where you are right now. In this show, you'll learn practical information, actionable strategies, and mindset tweaks so that you can feel healthier, more comfortable in your body, and make choices that work for your life. Come join me in failing forward, one imperfect step at a time, into the journey of health, wellness, and self-care. Welcome to your new project. Let's talk first about social media. We all know that on social media, it's a highlight reel. It's not the full story. Even though we know that, when we're seeing somebody have what we want, or make it look so easy, or make it look like it didn't come with any challenges or obstacles, even though we know that it's not the full story, I think it's hard to remember that. People tend to share their biggest achievements, accomplishments, milestones, and best moments, but often forget to share the struggles, the obstacles, the setbacks that they faced along the way. And so for you, it's important to understand, A, that it's a highlight reel, and two, that you may need to gain some perspective when it comes to social media. So much of what is out there online, we try to curate what our kids are doing, but I don't think we do the same thing for ourselves, and it can be as equally toxic, it can be equally as dangerous to us because we get in these places, or it can lead us in this mindset that we feel like we are failures when in fact you're doing the same thing that everybody did, and you're in the same place where most people are, and at some point somebody that has what you want was too. So it's trying to remember to gain this perspective. And so some of the ways that maybe you can start to gain perspective is limiting your social media use. Spend much less time on social media to reduce your exposure to unrealistic comparisons. Now, on my iPhone, I have set like I can be on social media an hour a day. And I will tell you that every time that reminder comes up, I say, forget it, give me 15 more minutes, give me 15 more minutes. And then by the end of the week, my social media use is the same as it was before I said that. So it's important for me to remember, as it is for all of you to remember, that social media is going to have this impact that is it's going to change the way you feel about yourself, and it's going to change the way that you feel about your goals. And hopefully it'll give you something that gives you a positive reinforcement that you can do it too. But oftentimes, at least for me, sometimes it doesn't always feel like that. So one of the ways also that you can gain a little bit perspective is by following accounts that inspire you, that uplift you, that trigger feelings of adequacy rather than inadequacy. And really start to curate your feed to the accounts that will help uplift you and make you feel like you can do something rather than you're in a place that you're comparing yourself to other people. Because once you get in that that comparison loop, I think it gets really hard to get out of it. You keep thinking like, why do they get that and I don't? But really there's no difference between you and them. It's just that they may have done some things differently, and they may not have done anything differently, but maybe the amount of time just doesn't show. It just doesn't show the whole picture. So you can't actually figure out how alike people are and how similar their experiences are to you too. And remember that there is a reality here that isn't being shown, and that everyone faces challenges, and that social media only shows part of the picture. I think that's the biggest piece of this, is to start curating your social media so that you feel inspired rather than feeling unworthy. And know that even if there is this little snapshot of all success, the reality behind that is that what is being shown is only a picture, and that there are probably feelings of inadequacy, challenges with social media, and that you're not getting the whole picture. The next thing I would say to you would be to really remember that every time you decide to make a change, whether it's a health, wellness, or self-care goal, or if it's a relationship goal, it all begins with a single step in the direction that you're trying to go. And every person that was an expert that you're trying to emulate, that you look up to, started at the same point where you are starting now. Everyone started from scratch. And I think that a lot of times social media makes it and blows it up like there was success all along the way and that everything started easily. But it's not that way. Everyone starts at the same point, and it only takes one step in the direction of where you're trying to go. So if you can start to recognize that fact, then you can start to move forward with these small actions. It's just one step over time that, as long as you're moving forward, makes achievable goals, that builds motivation, that builds confidence, that allows you to move forward. So setting that realistic expectation from the beginning, and I don't even know if it's realistic. I think it's just taking a step. I think it really is just taking action and then repeating that step, repeating that action over and over again. Celebrating the wins along the way, no matter how small, because progress is progress. It doesn't matter how you got there, you're moving forward. And keep looking towards what you are accomplishing and what you have accomplished rather than what you haven't. Because if you get stuck in that place, like I haven't done this and it's not that great, it's going to be really hard for you to keep moving forward. So celebrating the wins, celebrating the small accomplishments along the way, and celebrating the big accomplishments too. But I think a lot of times we as humans only celebrate the big, not the small. Celebrating the small things and then keep moving forward. And then understanding that with anything that you're trying to do, success takes time. So be patient with yourself and know that it's going to take a little bit of time and it's not going to just happen from the beginning to the end of a highlight reel. That reality is much different, and that just allow yourself to have that grace and to know that if it's taking longer than you want it to take, that that's a normal part of the process. And there were probably things along the way that you needed to learn or needed to redefine in order to be able to be more consistent to what you're trying to achieve. One of the things, I would say the third thing, so we talked about recognizing that social media is an illusion, recognizing that everybody starts at the same place, and that the journey only begins with a single step, just a single step towards action. And then one of the other things I think that we can have a mindset shift on is that we compare so much to others. But what maybe we can do is use their success as an inspiration and a learning opportunity. And I think from a lot of podcasts, like my own podcast, it's this idea that everyone's going to tell you what to do, but what works for you, what works for you. And you're not going to know that unless you take action towards what you think would work, fail at it, and then come back and revisit it. And that's a way that you can start to learn from others. You can say, okay, I follow this person. It gives me pleasure to watch them. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself when I'm watching their videos on social media. And then learning about like, what did they do to achieve success? And is it something that you can commit to too? Because if they starve themselves and don't really live the life that you want to live, it's going to be really hard for you to do exactly what they do. And so start kind of opening up your aspect and seeing that there's probably pieces that you can take from different people that will inspire that action for you and be more realistic with the life you want to live. And start to look at how people achieve their success, what strategies they use, what challenges they overcame, and how they overcame them. If you are struggling with anxiety or that you procrastinate, you're probably going to resonate with people who kind of do the same thing and overcame that or figured out strategies how to manage that versus somebody who is just like, I just did it and it was so easy. So it's really trying to figure out who those people are for you, who your people are, and start to study their journey and know that you're probably going to take a little bit from this expert, a little bit from that expert, and adapt those strategies to your life. You can always seek advice from people that you follow. Most people are more than willing to share their experiences and offer guidance. I mean, I talk about that on here all the time. I'm doing a podcast. It's free. I always welcome your advice. I always welcome your questions because it makes me better. And, I think most people that do it want to help other people. Most people that are in the health profession really want to help other people. That's how they got into this to begin with. And so maybe they have a mentorship program, or maybe you can ask them questions, or maybe there's just room for further guidance on some of the principles that are making it a little bit harder for you to understand, or that you feel like you kind of get stuck on. Also, adapting any of the strategies that you think will help you and adapting them to your own journey, because everything is going to be unique for you because you come from a different background. You may have different goals. you have a different past medical history. There's just so many things that we can learn from other people. And you may not have to reinvent the wheel and make it harder. It's just trying to figure out what you can take from this person, what you can take from that person, and then you create your own individual experience based on the challenges and how they react, other people's challenges, and how they were able to overcome them and how that works for your life. Another thing is this idea that you have to cultivate a growth mindset. I think I talk about this on almost every episode of this podcast because all of this, when we're making a health, wellness, and self-care goal and we're moving towards it, this mindset piece needs to be developed in order to go through the things and the comparisons and the feelings of inadequacy. All of these things, I think, kind of come down to this idea that you can do it and that it's possible for you and that it's not just possible for somebody else. I think we all have different areas of our life where maybe we have a limited belief of ourselves, and then there's other areas where we have this idea that we can do a lot of things. And it's trying to figure out where you are when it comes to your health and wellness. And for most women, including myself, you're maybe in a place where you've forgotten that you can grow and be something different if you want that when it comes to your health, wellness, and self-care goals. That you have that ability to be what you want to be, and that it doesn't have to be limited to where you are right now and what you think this leads to for the rest of your life, that it can be different. And having this growth mindset will really help you along the journey into health, wellness, and self-care. Because it's not something that you're going to achieve in a day. It's something that is a journey. It takes time. And there are going to be ups and downs. And if you are in this place that your mindset is very limited in what you can do, it's going to be hard to manage those obstacles and challenges when they present. And you may feel very likely that you can't have it and that it isn't for you and that you can't do it. And so embracing this idea of a growth mindset where you start to view challenges not just as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth and as an opportunity to learn more about yourself. Because again, this whole journey is you starting to love you and you learning more about yourself and you exploring who you are. It's not about you and whoever you compare yourself to on social media. It's about you versus you, the you are today, the you want to be, and moving forward. And if you're able to embrace this idea that you can do something and that you can grow, it's going to be easier for you to accept criticism and value the effort that you're doing to get to where you want to be. If you're in a very limited mindset when it comes to wanting this big health, wellness, and self-care goal, when someone criticizes you or gives you feedback that maybe you don't appreciate, if it's limited, that might actually hold you back and prevent you from moving forward. But if you're able to see it as a bigger picture, that maybe this feedback will make you better or provide some value, it's going to help you start to understand yourself better and be able to take action and give you confidence in what you're doing. It'll also allow you to recognize the effort that you make, and that consistent effort is going to be required for improvement and for you to get to your growth. It's going to, I think a lot of us do this thing where we make effort and we make effort, a really hard effort for like a week. And then we're like, oh, I didn't get to my goal. All that effort, it didn't pay off. But if we can start to have this growth mindset or to empower yourself that things are going to be hard and there's going to be obstacles, but that you can do it and you can overcome it, then you start to value that effort and value that you need to be consistent, not just for a week, not just for 2 weeks, but over time. And that is really the key, that consistent effort to improvement and success for the long term. And then you don't get disappointed or unmotivated because you're like, okay, I know this is going to take a little bit, and I can start to celebrate the little things that I'm doing, and that every day I'm putting action in, and that eventually I'll get to where I want to be. One of the other things that I would say would be to focus on your own progress. Your journey is unique, and your progress should be measured against your past performance, not somebody else's. Again, it's you versus you. The you today versus the you tomorrow, or the you yesterday. So you are a different person. You are very unique. You are not somebody else's accomplishments or achievements. It's you against you. And I would say it's you against the you were yesterday, the day before, and to see that you've made progress from yesterday and the day before. One of the ways that you can really start to reflect on what you are today versus what you were yesterday, not 10 years ago or 20 years ago, is to start to take time to reflect on your journey and the progress you've made along the way. And you can do that however you want to do it, but I think it's important to celebrate that. And you can do that in a lot of ways. You can do it by having an app that you are able to compare how much physical activity you did yesterday versus today, or versus when you first started. You can look at weight, is always a one that people like to use, but I always feel like it's not always an accurate portrayal, because it doesn't show you the action. It doesn't show you the behaviors that maybe you may or may have done. If you are tracking your water intake, it will show you how you started and where you are now. But basically, any way, whether it's a fitness app, or whether it's some kind of like monitor that you're wearing on your body, whether it is a journal, because a lot of things too could be feelings, negative criticisms that you may have had before that maybe are better. And so it's trying to find a way to express it, and then to also figure out what's different from today versus when you started. You can use a habit tracker. You can use a journal to document, gosh, I feel this way today, but then I look back in a month and I don't feel like that anymore. I feel better and more accomplished. Whatever that looks like for you. Really just more important to celebrate your improvements and to keep setting new goals as you start to figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and staying true to what the path is. And I think that's what's really helpful about reflecting too, is that you can see the journey of you now versus day one, but then it also allows you to stay consistent to what is important to you. I think that we start this pathway and we kind of have an idea of what we want. And then we see other people doing something and we start comparing, or maybe we see something in social media and then you're like, oh, I think I want to do that. But it might not really align with who you are and what you want. So it's important to just kind of have an idea of what you want from the beginning, and know that, sure, it may change and it may take you in a direction that is truer to yourself, but also it may take you into a direction that really might not align with what your goals are or what your journey is really about. And so just kind of note that. But that's why focusing or reflecting on your own progress can be really important. And then lastly, build yourself a supportive community. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who support your growth, who lead to continuing on this journey with you and can make a significant improvement and difference on your journey. This can be in any way that works for you. You can join groups, you can find Facebook groups, you can listen to podcasts like mine, trying to find like-minded individuals who understand and support your journey, and figuring out in your group of friends or family who you are willing to talk to, who do you think will help support you and provide encouragement along the way. And also knowing that it's important to celebrate your successes, not only with yourself, but if you're able to build that community, that community will also help celebrate your achievements, other people's achievements, and overall foster supportive relationships that can be a really great environment when you are feeling like things are really hard. And so it kind of just allows you to have a place that you can go to and be like, all right, I can go into that community if I feel like I'm having a really hard day, versus like having negativity all around us, which I feel like sometimes we do find ourselves in those places too. So in conclusion, I think it's important to remember what's out there on social media, that it's not always real, embracing your day one or where you begin, and remembering that it's you versus you at any point in time during this journey. Start to learn from others and figure out what works for you that they're doing that maybe could work for you too, versus comparing. And then taking what you think could work for you back to your own journey and figure out if it can work. And then seeking out other people that could work for you too. And then just putting together your own unique individualized journey. Cultivating this idea of a growth mindset that you can do something and you can be what you would desire. It's not just for someone else. Focusing on your own progress, trying to figure out how to keep track of where you are now versus your day one, and building a supportive network of people that can help build you up and support you and make a significant improvement in your health, wellness, and self-care journey. Remembering that in the age of social media, it's really easy to fall into the trap of comparison, but it's important to remember that every successful person starts as a beginner. And if you're a beginner, they started just where you are today. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you. But just knowing that you can overcome any comparison that you are doing today by seeking out a supportive community and embracing your unique path, and knowing that you can achieve what other people have too, recognizing your own potential. And I think the more important thing is that your success story can happen, and you can have the things that other people want, and you deserve them. And your story is waiting for you. It's right in front of you. Maybe you're in the midst of it. It's still there. Keep going. Take action. All you need to do is decide today what you want to do and take action towards that step, and start looking through what your day looks like and how to make that an environment that feels like it's more supportive to you versus an environment that makes you not feel that great about yourself. So I thank you guys for listening. And as always, you can reach out at Whole Health Empower on Instagram, and you can find your freebie in the show notes, 5 things you should be doing today if you're over 40. I hope you have a great day today, and I hope that you take some time to celebrate your success and your progress, because if you're not doing it now, who's going to do it for you? So celebrate your action today and really start to embrace the idea that you can do this too. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found value in this podcast, please rate, review, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends. Together, we can take tiny, imperfect steps towards creating the whole health we desire and deserve. Don't forget to grab your freebie. You can find the link in your show notes or over at triciard.com. I'll see you back here next week.